All right, starting at the top of the hour. Stand by.
I got a jacket that don't quite fit, and a tie that's pulling at my neck a bit. They say, smile, son, you're the chosen ride for the guilty rich with something to hide. Clipboard queen with a practiced grin says wheels up fast, don't ask where they've been. I nod like I'm just part of the machine, but I read between what isn't seen. Oh, the runway's long and the silence thick, and every favor's just another trick. I'm your first-class alibi in the sky tonight, serving altitude with your appetite. You can sip your lies while I hold the line. At 30,000 everything's just fine. No one checks the conscience when the view's this bright. I am your first-class alibi tonight. They talk in codes like a cheap TV, with designer shades and a guarantee that what goes up won't come back down, at least not here in this private town. I hear confessions through a cabin wall, filtered drinks and protocol. They think I'm deaf behind this door, just a hired hand, nothing more. But the black box knows what I won't say. Sin at cruising aid. I'm your first-class alibi in the sky tonight, serving altitude with your appetite. You can toast your deals in the dim cabin lights, while I keep the wings steady in flight. No one checks the conscience when the seat's just right. I am your first-class alibi tonight. Turbulence hits and they grip their glass. Funny how the mighty pray so fast. Suddenly I'm more than just the help. I'm the only thing between them and themselves. Cabin secure. Yeah, we're climbing still. I'm your first-class alibi. Don't ask me why. I just trace the lines across the sky. You can dress it up in gold and charm, but gravity don't care who you are. When the wheels come down, you're out of sight, and I'm just the ghost of your midnight flight. Hang up the tie, let the engines cool. Another quiet trip for another fool.
After being pecked by a radioactive bird, a somewhat mannered Tuthill was compelled to become Kineas, the Skydude. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be in time and space. Kineas here. Okay, so, today's interesting subject, and I'm going to be opening up the voice chat a little bit later to have anybody who wants to come in and weigh in on this subject. And great, but first, I want to get a flight started, and then I want to play the clip from President Trump that has everybody going crazy. and then have at it. If anybody has any thoughts on the subject or anything related, even today's the day to talk about it. I've got some opinions. I'm going to be holding off on. I'm going to be holding off on giving any of my opinions until later. I really am more interested in hearing anything anybody has to say, or anything new, or just different opinions. Okay, so I want to do a VIP flight. Now, I've got 26 aircraft, as you can see down here under companies, right? So keeping track of where they're all at can be nuts. And then, if you do a flight with one and then you go do a different type of mission, another type of mission, and you forget where you parked, right? If you forget where you parked. I did it again. I went into the wrong dang screen. Go back into the company screen. Go up to all companies. Okay, so I want to know where this guy's at, right? And they don't put the information out here, even though they got plenty of room. Got to have that extra click in there. 2 clicks. Go to Manage Aircraft, and it'll appear up in the corner here, up under Management. Look at the top left. The little pointer says CYCD. That's where the plane is at. Thank you to Aaron for pointing that out when I was first learning how to do these, get into this company thing. CYCD, right? So now, click, 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 click. Go back into missions, and up here under search locations, CYCD. Nanaimo? Is that how you pronounce that? Nanaimo. Oh, and so that's where I parked the aircraft. Okay. No problem. So this one, whoa, that's kind of a long one. 3 hours and 30 minutes? I don't think I want to do that. 2 hours. Please be an hour and 30 minutes. 2 hours. All right. So it's going to be a little bit pricier because now we have to move our plane and ourselves over here. But it's not 3 hours and 30 minutes. I don't think we're going to... I mean, if we get enough people in here talking, sure, I think we could fill up that time. But it's going to really require just, it's going to require some people. So I'm asking you, come on in. Hey, in the description of the show, there is the link to the Discord voice chat invite. Just know that when you pop in there, I normally am not immediately jumping on like mute and control everybody coming in. But know that if you come in, you're going to be live. So I don't have a controller, moderating the voice chat. So 6,000, that's not too bad to move the aircraft. So I watched Hazardous FDM's live stream Friday. And he had Nerd Droid on. Maybe it was Thursday night, whatever. Time and I aren't friends. And he was giving him a great walkthrough. And I was trying to think, well, what else could we do to maybe help Hazardous or other folks out? What could be helpful in any way? And I thought, well, maybe, one of the things that comes up is using SimBrief or other tools to help create flight plans. And there's a lot of ways to skin this cat. Again, I don't know where that expression comes from. Skinning cats doesn't sound fun, but there's a lot of ways to create flight plans beyond, straight from the main menu, building flight plans that way. That's probably the most easiest. If you want to be a little bit more involved, and if you want to do it for free, I did back in the day. I used SkyVector almost entirely because it's free. And it's super powerful. It can do almost everything else any of those other pay-for programs can do, other than really creating a flight plan and uploading it directly. But the point was back then is to not go in there and plug in the parameters and have it knock out a flight plan, which I can just then upload into the computer or yada, yada, yada. Access from my FMC. Okay. And so it was all about learning to read flight plan maps. And there used to be a rule before you could fly back in the day, general aviation. You had to be monitoring the weather up to like 7 days before flying. And that's something I used to do, again, early on. If you watch some of my very first videos, a lot of that covers, okay, let's check the weather for today. Okay, we got to get in the habit of checking the weather and understanding the patterns in our area and where we're going to be flying for the, in the next week. What's, so you have to kind of be like a weather person. I want to say weatherman, but people these days, a weather person. And lately, even using the EFB and SimBrief and other things, no matter how you build it, a lot of the maps don't show you terrain, and we don't really get into a whole lot of visual flight rules. Studying visual flight rule maps, right? So anyway, maybe going over SkyVector and how to generate flight plans with that, how to read visual flight rules maps, how to read IFR maps, the world low maps, the world high maps, how to understand SIDS and stars. Oh, we're headed back to Colorado. All right. So again, we're going to be talking about today, and I'm opening up the voice chat here. Well, let's maybe just get up to cruise or get going a little bit. Let me get the plane into a place where I don't have to be monitoring it or doing anything. And then I'm going to play the extended clip of President Trump talking about releasing UFO, UAP files. Check. I forgot to mention there's a way to, before you come into this screen, get this going, that you can come in here and change your flight level before you get going, which I should have done. This thing climbs pretty quick, though. And let's look at what kind of approach we have. It's just going to be an RNAV. Okay. But 45,000 feet. If you're having any problems getting into the chat room, voice chat, please let me know. I'm not very good with Discord yet, so bear with me if I do anything wrong. I'm learning. So President Trump said he wants the government to release documents on UFOs, or now they're calling them UAPs. And of course, this has been a hot subject since the 40s. But he's saying after we release the files, you go out and look at some of these phenomena yourself. I don't really know what he's talking about. Maybe, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what he means. I can kind of infer. I mean, I can assume, but that doesn't get us anywhere, assuming, So again, I'll play that clip once we get in the air, and then I'll open up voice chat and have at it. If you have any thoughts on this, are you excited about it? Talk about anything in general. Do you believe? What do you believe? It's I don't think there's any wrong answer to anything around the subject. anymore. I mean, we got a lot of traffic moving around here. You buggers.
Dear passengers, welcome on board flight SVI 57 with service from Granby to Granby. We'll be shortly in line for takeoff. Please
So
fasten your seatbelts and secure all baggage underneath your seat. And to make sure your seats and table trays are in the upright position for takeoff, please switch all personal electronic devices, including laptops and cell phones, to airplane mode. This is a non-smoking flight. Thank you for choosing Radiant Airways. Enjoy your flight.
I still don't know where they're coming up with the Radiant Airways. It should be like just getting us or Skydude VIP, something like that. Hey, anyway, so I was way busier this weekend than I thought I was going to be. And I missed a lot of good live streams this weekend. So I know Nerd Droid did at least one, but I think he did two. One is Sea of Thieves, and another one I think is a look at an upcoming pirate MMO that he mentioned the other day. While in our chat here, we were talking about different games. Oops, I think should be holding there.
Tower, Kin Sierra Victor India 57 at runway 25 ready for departure. IFR to Kilo Golf November Bravo.
And
Kin Sierra Victor India 57, altimeter 2981, cleared for takeoff runway 25.
And it's me, Lazy, Mr. Lazy. He did a show this weekend, and I know Atlas did one or two. I caught one of them. I came in late Saturday night, got home late, and I was surprised that he was just starting a Red Dead Redemption. And he's in chapter 2, right around the same place Hazardous is, I think. Either way, it was neat. I'm learning a lot about that game. I can't say I've been that interested in a game in a long time. They've got me hooked. And so there I spent most of Saturday night.
Estimated flight time to Granby is 1 hour 52 minutes. We remind you to keep your seatbelt fastened. Thank you for your attention, and let's have a great flight.
And then when I had some time last night, I started just watching all kinds, like got obsessive about watching different videos related to Red Dead Redemption, number 1 and number 2. I hope I'm on the right runway, folks. I'm all discombobulated today. And I'm saving my pennies. I thought about using some money this month to donate to Hazardous so that I might have him generate some more songs. So I see that looking at Suno, when you sign up for Suno, set this to Toga. I don't know what you're talking about, madam. We have takeoff. And even though you do pay your monthly, you're still limited by the number of credits. And he's been knocking out so many songs for us all that, and now I actually have some that I do actually kind of want him to do. We were talking about creating songs with your own lyrics. And so we're not going to make... Oh, finally. V1 rotate right at the very end. Wow! Up, baby. Oh, no, up. Come on. Don't poop out on me. Get the gear up. Get the flaps up. Yeah, don't sink, DiMaggio. Don't hit the radio tower. I think we just scraped something. I just heard the weirdest noise. Okay. I think that was just my trim. Okay. Good. It held our flight level change being on. Let me turn on the yaw damper. Oh, wrong plane. We can turn on the bank limiter. No? No? You don't want to come on? Acknowledge this. Okay. Oh, wow. That's interesting. For the first time, our source started out in localizer and not GPS mode. Do you see that? And so that's a new one for this plane. And okay. Yes, we are. But I tried. I had it right there. I thought we were good, but we were a knot or two over. Okay. So this is a new one for me. Because normally it actually just starts out in GPS. So now the problem we've just encountered is how with this style of dash do you make the source where's the CDI to change the source back to GPS. So my first thought is to look down here. To see if there's anything here that pops out. Because normally it's the CDI button that we're looking for. Let me look up on the dash. Well, it's a new one. I know I probably had this problem before, but it's not coming to mind. Let's see. So if you do a direct, we'll switch it back over. No, it stays on localizer 1. Radios. Nav 1. Nope, stays localizer. Inoperative. I should probably at least get my plane turning in the right direction while I'm looking for this. Put it in the heading mode. Okay, CDI. You were playing Red Dead Redemption 1 on PS5 a couple of days ago. That's not normally how you're playing it, are you? Normally, oh no, you are playing on console. I know you use a controller, but I didn't know that that you were playing on PlayStation 5. I thought you were just using a controller with the PC, which you might be doing. I'm not sure. Can't imagine they would bury it. Oh, okay, you normally do play it on the PC. Huh. Flight plan options. I wouldn't think it would be buried. It wouldn't be. Anybody have an answer out there? Where the heck is... How do you change the source with this aircraft? Where's the CDI? Normally in an autopilot, again, you have a CDI button. Oh, you have a way to stream your PlayStation games with your PC. I see. Oh, good. Admiral Aaron's here. Maybe you can help me. I'm looking for the CDI button so that I can change this screen, this localizer, to be on the GPS. So normally it's the CDI button, and you click it and it chooses your source. And in older planes, they would have a button up here where you click source and change it from localizer. And in these newfangled ones, I figured the CDI button would be readily available here somewhere. This is the Cessna Citation longitude. So having a look at the dash, I don't see anything here to change it. Com nav. Inoperative. 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 PFD. Inoperative. So nothing there. Flight director L course button, nothing. CPL inoperative. So, and there's nothing under flight plan too. Like usually a CDI button would be in here in your Garmin. The map settings don't cover it. Clicking on nav 1 to change the CDI source in the Cessna longitude in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Electronic. Wow. Look down in your left center console pedestal. Use the EFB. Tap the top button in the middle cluster of buttons on the side mounted EFB screen. Tap the top button in the middle cluster of buttons on the side. That is the weirdest thing I've ever read. And then there's that, yeah, and then you have another one over here. Okay, this has OBS. Bearing. This should do it. Here it is right there. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, that little EFB. That's not the EFB, but if that works too, neat. So it's right there, nav source. I forgot that they had these ones on the left-hand side over here. FMS. Okay. Okay, we're squared away. So now, let's put it back in the nav and have it do a direct. Direct 2, activate. Okay, we're activated, and we're turning. And turn on bank limiter. And we're in flight level change. And we're managing our speed. Put this, well, we're at over 18,000. Try to speed up the climb a little bit or put a little bit more power into it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You got me going in the right direction. I really appreciate that. Yeah, duh. Forgot about these ones over here. Nav source. Bearing 1, bearing 2. Wrong waypoint. Am I going back? Thank you for catching that. All right. We're back on track. All right. So here in a minute, as we get closer to the top of climb here, I can even do it now. It doesn't really matter. We're just in climb to cruise. All right. So today, this weekend, I think Friday, President Trump came out and said the following. Make sure my Microsoft Flight Simulator noise is down before I play this clip. Let me open this clip here. And this is what I'm going to open up the voice chat to anybody that would like to come into the voice chat. I'd really prefer it if you come into the voice chat. I would love to have you on air, like talk radio. Okay? Typing your opinions in chat, that's fine. But I would really appreciate coming into the voice chat for this one. So we can, have discussions. It's up to you, though. Okay. I found my clip. Let me start this over. This is from E.T. That's funny. E.T.
To begin releasing
Start this again.
I recently directed the Secretary of War to begin releasing government files relating to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. Found many very interesting documents, I must say. The first releases will begin very, very soon, so you can go out and see if that phenomena is correct. As you remember, I recently directed the Secretary of War. How good is Pete Hegseth doing, by the way?
I guess you don't really need to see him. You just need to hear him.
To begin releasing government files relating to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. And I figured this was a good crowd because I know you people, you're really into that. I don't know if I am, but
I don't know if we'll play the audio, though.
Pleased to report today. I thought I'd save it for this crowd because you're a little bit out there, a little bit.
You're a little bit out there.
This process is well underway, and we found many very interesting documents, I must say. And the first releases will begin very, very soon, so you can go out and see if that phenomena is correct. You'll figure it out. Let me know. Let me know.
Earlier, U.S. Congressman Tim Burchett claimed that a government source confirmed extraterrestrials have visited Earth. He appeared on TMZ Live and insisted that the evidence is real, despite it sounding unbelievable. Burchett revealed that these beings traveled on otherworldly craft and had made direct contact with humans, shocking even him. Multiple government and military officials have reportedly confirmed alien existence to Burchett. Over time, he revealed. He further stressed that there's no danger to human life, as these beings possess technology far beyond our comprehension. Burchett further pointed out that if they wanted harm, humanity would have been wiped out long ago.
When I was overseas, I saw.
Oh, we got a commercial.
I do understand injury and loss, both seeing it and experiencing it.
That extraterrestrials confirmed that extraterrestrials include both living organisms and advanced machinery operating together. He described underwater crafts as big as a football field, moving over 200 miles per hour. Notably, the congressman sits on the House Oversight and Foreign Affairs committees, giving him access to high-level briefings.
Talking about Tim Burchett.
Raises concerns about unexplained deaths and disappearances of individuals tied to extraterrestrial programs. This debate has reignited after U.S. President Donald Trump promised agencies would release UAP files, citing public interest.
I now recognize Mr. Burchett from Tennessee for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair Lady, and thank you, Ranking Member Crockett. I see a lot of friends out there, and I see a couple enemies, so I'll remember that. But it's a pleasure being here. I want to remind people, too, this thing is an ongoing deal. We're not going to get this overnight. We've been fighting this battle, some of y'all, for 30 years and maybe longer. I hope we just keep focused on what we're trying to get to is total disclosure. We get a little wrapped up in a lot of things, but the government has something, and they need to turn it over to us. We pay their dadgum salary, you pay our salary, and you ought to get more out of us than you do. And that's what disgusts me about this whole thing. I think they're just trying to run the clock out on us, really. They'll poke us a little, and they'll make jokes to us and try to pull us off the target, but I think we know where we're at, and that's why they're firing at us, because we are over the target. My first question is, Mr. Knapp, I recently introduced the UAP Whistleblower Protection Act to help provide whistleblower protection to federal personnel for disclosing the use of federal taxpayer funds to investigate UFOs. I still don't want to say UAPs. How can Congress further increase whistleblower protections?
I think you got to unleash the dogs and go track down the money and where it goes, because a lot of this stuff has been moved out of government.
Sure.
As you know, Rep. Burchett, it's been given to private contractors who've stashed it away. They've had it for so long that there's nobody left inside government, or very few, who know where it is.
And they do that to keep us from FOIA, correct?
Yeah, it's to keep it from FOIA. And I think that the contractors who've had this stuff for a very long time set their own standards about who is allowed to know what. And it's a very small group that ever cracks that. I think...
I'm going to pause right there a second. I have another problem that maybe you can help me with. All right. Where, if at all, is the, like, de-icing? Does this plane have de-icing? So normally with the other aircraft, the CJ4, all right, you have to make sure that if you're climbing this high, that you normally have some sort of pitot heat source going. And it's probably not ice. It's probably the plane being extremely dirty. But why that is coming to mind is I was in that external view. I was looking down at the wings, and for a moment it looked like a little bit of ice streaking on that leading edge. Right? Could just be dirty. Could be a little ice streaking. And you've got those peaks over there, and those are definitely cold. Right? Looking around the area, I was looking over this way, and I'm like, oh, everything's nice and calm. Looking over there, and I looked over here, and I'm like, oh boy, they've got a lot of snow. And let's see, something just popped up. The icing controls for the Cessna Citation Longitude are located on the center pedestal, specifically on the anti-ice panel situated between the throttle and the center console. Well, my friends, I'm blind as a bat. Cabin, warm up the cabin a little bit. I'm prone to the cold. Oh. Well, while I continue to look, let me go ahead and turn this back on.
Representative Luna has been looking at the use of class.
That's George Knapp talking. You might know him from forever. Wish Stanton Friedman were still around.
Classifications to hide things. I'm not sure that even this committee getting security clearances that should allow you to see this stuff would allow you to follow where it really goes.
I worry about the people that are looking at it and don't even know what they're looking at. I mean, it's gone through so many, since Roswell, for instance. I mean, you think there's nobody even alive that was around any of that stuff.
Yeah,
so
I don't think they've made much progress from the people that I've talked to. I don't think they've made much progress in learning that technology. Might have made some, but you wonder, the implication is tic-tac. Oh, yeah, that's ours. What flew over Washington, D.C. in 52, is that ours too? When are you going to break that out? You guys authorized tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars on weapon systems that can't do half of what we've seen UFOs do. So when do they break this out? If it's really a classified project, could change the world. I don't think they've made much progress, and I think they've been lying to us and to you and the rest of the world, and they're still doing it.
yes, sir, I agree with you. How did you manage to obtain the classified Russian UAP documents, and how did you get them back in the United States?
Well, I met this Russian physicist who was in the United States lecturing.
And I want to clarify that. I can't even take a thing of honey home on my airplane when I fly back to Tennessee.
Yeah,
so
I did something pretty dumb.
And I'm bitter about it, but go ahead.
I did something kind of dumb. I met with these officials who, during that time period, glasnost, perestroika, the Russians were trying to open up to the world, and I saw it as a window of opportunity, and it was. And we were able to talk these folks into providing us information that otherwise we would never have seen. Some of that was classified. I found out that they only stamped the top pages of these documents that were classified, so I just removed them. I removed those pages, and I carried them out. And if they'd caught me, I'd be in a gulag still.
Yeah. We'd be saying, what happened to George Knapp? Oh, yeah. What happened to the Russians that came forward to you in 1993, and were there any repercussions for them?
Well, there were. The first thing that happened when I talked about this after getting back and going through the files and things and sifting through it, the Russian physicist who had helped us be introduced to all these people wrote back and said there was a huge eruption, that there was the real right, far autocratic forces that wanted a return of the USSR had really go after these guys. They described them as traitors. Nikola Tesla, the physicist friend of mine, said, look, if this had happened 5 years earlier, we would be in prison. If it had happened 10 years earlier, we would have been shot. Right. Luckily, at that point, Putin was not in power, but none of those people that we talked to on that trip in 1993 would ever talk to me again. I went back in 1996, and it was like I had the plague. I spoke to different people, but they were scared. And eventually, the story was spun where the Ministry of Defense officials who gave us this information were described as ufologists who said there was nothing really significant to these files. They didn't really find anything a big deal. And I can tell you, you'll see those files that I shared with you, they did find stuff. There was an incident in October of 1982 over at ICBM base where UFOs popped up, was observed over this base where the missiles are pointed at us, United States. These UFOs perform incredible maneuvers. They split apart, they fuse back together, they'd appear and disappear. And right at the end of this 4-hour period, the launch control codes for the ICBMs lit up. Something entered the correct codes. The missiles were fired up and ready to launch, and they could not shut it down. The Russian officers were panicking. The UFOs they disappeared. The launch control system goes back to normal. Colonel Sokolov and his team came in, took the thing apart, could not figure out what it was. It wasn't a power surge or EMPs or some of the baloney excuses that our country has given for similar events involving our nuclear missiles. They thought it was a message from wherever the UFOs were from. And that's a chilling thing. I mean, we were a couple of seconds away from World War III starting, and the UFOs were responsible for it.
All right, I'm out of time, but real quick, who are the contractors that have this material? Corporations.
Well, one of them is Lockheed. And I'll tell you, I mean, I'm not saying Lockheed's the bad guys. They're doing what they were asked to do.
Sure.
They have lied about this because that's what they're supposed to do. But Lockheed would be one. There's a list I can give you, Congressman. Some of the big ones, the usual suspects.
Okay, thank you. Yield back, chair lady. Sorry for going over.
It's all good.
It's all George Knapp's fault.
Okay. Okay. So we got a little bit more than we wanted. We got a little bit of congressional talk from George Knapp and Mr. Burchett. So what's going on? So another problem now. I have it on flight level change. We are doing a good clip. We're not losing power, but she's not now climbing. We're set to 45,000 feet, and she's stalling, holding at 21,000 feet. It says flight level change is on, 284 knots that we're doing. Plenty of speed. Why did she stop climbing? I'll nudge the throttle forward a tiny bit and see if that maybe wakes it up. It's going down. No, the other way. The other way. Yeah, there you go. There you go. You're waking up. All right. All right. So you do kind of maybe have to toggle or just jiggle. Maybe. Keep an eye on it here for a minute. And just jiggle your throttle around a little bit. Like when doing a descent, you got to kind of pull back to make it engage. Normally, flight level change, if it's set to go, it'll go. So I'll put the throttle again in a little bit more forward. See if that doesn't solve the problem. Okay. Yeah, I think they're giving us the wrong information. They're telling us that the de-icing equipment, de-icing buttons in this aircraft are below your throttle quadrant. They're not. I'm sorry for whoever is feeding us the wrong information. It's actually right here next to the landing gear. There's your ice protection buttons right here for engine, wing, and turning on your pitot static heat. So pitot static heat on the front of the aircraft, when you first come in, they have you take the cover off. It's an air inlet. Okay? And that air pressure that moves through that pitot tube drives a lot of your instruments. They can gather a lot of instruments. It can gather a lot of information from the wind speed to drive your instrument information. If that thing freezes, yeah, you're not going to get good information. So that's what the pitot static heat is. It heats that tube up and prevents that tube from icing. The wing and the engine icing is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, but now I am definitely opening up the voice chat. And I encourage anybody who listened to those clips, the president and that little congressional bit, to come in and weigh in. And if you'd like to, I'd really love to hear your opinions. I'd really like to gather different people's thoughts on what is this all about. You heard Mr. Burchett and mention that, we've been trying to get this information back to Roswell. Hello, Hazardous. How are you? Hazardous FDM, folks. Maybe.
Hello, hello.
Oh, there you are.
Sorry.
Hello.
My mic was muted.
That's fine.
Should know better.
Good afternoon, Hazardous. Yeah, I'm good. Good. How are you doing?
Same as usual. Just dandy.
Okay, before we jump into it, in the chat room, you did mention that you're now swapping back and forth. You can now play Red Dead on your PlayStation as well, and that's what you're doing.
The first Red Dead. I signed back up for PlayStation Plus or Premium or whatever they want to call it, and they let you play like PlayStation Classic games. They have like a whole classics library.
Cool.
And Red Dead Redemption is in that library, so I'm able to play that essentially for free since I'm a Plus member.
That gives me
I started playing that.
And you have played number 1 in the past.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I actually 100%ed Red Dead on God, what was it? PlayStation 2 or 3, whichever it came out on first.
You've given me a thought to go look on Xbox. They have their plan, and if you purchase their plan, then you can play any games. And I'm going to go look over there later at some point and see if they have the games up. I don't have a subscription to it, but it would be worth it for a month if I could play either one of them. Very interested in purchasing.
What do they call that Xbox service?
Game Pass?
Game Pass.
I have it right here. I can actually look it up right now. Let me put the camera in external view. Launching Xbox.
Here, I got the whole library pulled up. Let's see.
Yeah, they have the first one. Red Dead Redemption PC. And you can... Wow, the first one is still holding its value. $49.99.
Well, now, if you have the Game Pass, Red Dead 2 is not available, and the original is not available either.
As part of the Game Pass?
Yeah. But there, it looks like... I mean, obviously you can buy Red Dead 2 on Xbox, but you cannot buy or play the original on Xbox in any way right now.
This just looks like the first version, though.
Says regarding the original Red Dead Redemption, there are unconfirmed rumors that code leaks suggest it may join Xbox Game Pass in the future, but is not currently available on the service.
When was... here's a screenshot. Maybe that's changed?
That says PC.
Right. Oh, yeah. That's what I meant.
So you can't say it's on Xbox, because that's not. That's on PC.
Oh, forgive me. What I meant is this platform, whatever the Game Pass platform, the Xbox platform for PC.
Right. I looked. I wasn't specific in my search, and this response that I got was referring specifically to the Game Pass service as a whole, I believe.
Okay.
So you can buy it on PC, yes, but it's not part of the Game Pass service.
Right. So scratch that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can buy it, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But the price isn't going to be any different through Xbox versus just downloading the Rockstar Games launcher and buying it through there.
That's cool. Well, I was looking in here under retro classics. They got Beyond Zork. Are you old enough to remember Zork at all?
The name is familiar, but I never played it.
Just early text-based role-playing games. Pretty much. Really no graphics when they first started. As far as I remember, maybe just super minimal. I have to check that out. Okay, let's get to the elephant in the room. What are your thoughts on what the president said, and or on anything you heard, and or on anything in general?
I have heard so many different conspiracies and stories and what have you over the course of my life now, being 38 years old, that at this point, I know I'm being lied to. I know they're covering stuff up. The only question I am wondering right now is which theories or conspiracies are true. Is it just one or two? Or is it all of them? Because you never know these days, right? I mean, I've heard stories. I mean, Burchett was talking to Benny Johnson a couple of weeks ago on his channel, talking about how a military general briefed him a few weeks prior to that, telling him that there was a human alien breeding program over the last 30 years. It's like, okay, so, I mean, and I've heard stories of that growing up too. So it's just like this slow confirmation of all of these theories and conspiracies, which ones are actually true, which ones are not. I know, and I have to constantly remind myself that the universe is so large, so vast. We are a tiny speck of dust next to one in trillions of stars. There's no way we're alone in it. And if there's a civilization smarter than us and more powerful than us, we would have been wiped out a long time ago if they were violent or if had ill intentions. Right?
I would think
it's
so.
Not that I'm scared of it. It's just tell me the damn truth already. I'm a big boy.
That's definitely a good way to put it. Let me go ahead and
being lied to.
yes, I feel that. Let me post the invite again into the chat, and I encourage anybody jump in. What are your thoughts on this subject? Do you have any thoughts on the subject? How do you feel about either this subject, that subject, or again, Hazard has just mentioned. I mean, there's so many theories out there now. So many theories out there, conspiracies or theories on the subject in general. So what are your thoughts? So I encourage you, hop in, come into the chat room. Nobody's gonna I have opinions, but you know, I kind of want to hold off on my opinions for right now and really hear what you have to say. So please do. I don't know that we're going to get anybody hazardous. That was a really short notice on announcing my show at noon. So, but who knows?
You never know. Somebody might pop in.
I want Aaron to
their opinion.
Yeah, where are you, Aaron? You were in the chat room a minute ago. Come on in. Definitely goes back a long way. I'm glad that they he pointed out that yeah, I think he was pointing out that I think we all feel that we have been lied to back since Roswell, because right after Roswell,
I actually think this goes back to the mid 30s before Roswell. I think Roswell was a side effect of something that the government was onto.
I guess I'm going to...
Otherwise, they wouldn't have reacted the way they did about Roswell, right?
Right.
Now, this is just my own theory now, because I've heard stories from, what's his name that worked at S4 back in the 80s on reverse engineering the spacecraft.
Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar. He was told that this stuff goes back to the early to mid 30s, not the 40s during Roswell.
Right. That after the Kenneth Arnold sightings I'd have to look that up real quick. Let me do that. Kenneth Arnold, he kind of is credited with kicking off the modern UFO craze, and with his sightings over and around Mount Shasta in Utah.
Oh yeah.
And let me find the year on that. 1947.
Mm-hmm.
June 24th, 1947, private pilot Kenneth Arnold saw what he described as a string of 9 shiny unidentified flying objects flying past Mount Rainier at speeds that he estimated to be at least 1,200 miles per hour. And he described those as really, actually, they're pretty damn neat looking. Crescent shaped.
That fly and the picture he took supposedly is where we draw the term flying saucer.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how he described it. Was like a dinner plate, like 2 dinner plates laying on top of each other. Flying through the sky.
Pretty interesting, yeah. I think I am gonna, just because we have nothing, if I just leave it, we have nothing to talk about, I better start throwing out then some of my opinions to keep the conversation going. I would say yes. My initial reaction on yes, it goes back much further, because we already have a notable figure in history, Nikola Tesla,
right,
doing early radio experiments and other kinds of experiments where Nikola Tesla started making a whole bunch of noise about either people from Mars or signals from Mars or extraterrestrials in general. And so...
Which makes me wonder, since you mentioned that, why is like NASA and SpaceX so damn eager to get to Mars then?
Yes.
What is on Mars?
Yes.
That they need so bad?
Well, I think one thing, not that we don't potentially have proof here on the planet of space activities, extraterrestrial launching facilities. It's just that we have a tendency over time to destroy everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, at least on Mars, one idea is that you would at least have undisturbed ruins or locations, possibly even on the moon. There's that whole...
I think we've been lied to about the moon, too.
Have you ever heard the hollow moon theory?
Oh, I've heard all of that.
Okay.
And the bases, the domes, the tunnels, all on the dark side, like when Apollo 13 wrapped around the dark side of the moon before coming back on that supposed failed mission of what they actually saw.
Yeah.
This and what was it like when they were on the surface of the moon? These astronauts supposedly saw alien creatures of some kind peeking over the edge of a crater, watching them.
The moon stuff is really fascinating.
It's really weird.
Hazardous, hang on for a second. I am hopefully anybody watching the stream, you have not seen any ads pop up. I have it sets a manual today. It shouldn't be playing any ads. If it has played an ad, please tell me. This should be the very first advertisement, top of the hour station break that I'm going to be doing right now, and I'm going to play it myself. I'm going to click a button in my YouTube studio and make it play an ad, and then I'm going to play some music, and we're going to come back and jump right back into it. So hang on just a minute, folks.
Be right back.
What? Me? Playing an FPS game?
Checklist shaking in my hand, name tag crooked on my chest. Captain laughing says relax, this old bird's tougher than your ex. Runway heat waves blur my sight, sweaty palms on plastic light. Tower talking in my ear, every word tastes like fear. I'm Kenny as a Skydude, learning how to fly, dude. Trying not to die, dude. Somewhere in the clouds tonight. If I don't hit the wrong switch, if I ride out every glitch, maybe I'll be alright. Kenny is in the sky tonight. Stall alarm starts to complain. Too slow. Kid, pick a lane. Instructor sipping on his tea says you're fine, probably. Oh yeah. I overshoot the center line, heartbeat racing past the time, but when the wheels just kiss the ground, silence feels like the loudest sound. I'm Kenny as the sky dude, learning how to fly, dude. Trying not to die, dude. Somewhere in the clouds tonight. If I don't hit the wrong switch, if I ride out every glitch, maybe I'll be alright. Kenny is in the sky tonight. What if I breathe when the wind gets wild? What if the storm pulls down this child? And I remember every dive, every climb, every you got this in my mind. I'm Kenny as a sky dude, learning how to fly, dude. Trying not to die. Somewhere in the clouds tonight. If I don't hit the wrong switch, if I ride out every glitch, yeah, I'll be alright. Kenny is in the sky for life. Hey, hey, hey.
Okay, and we're back. Are you still there, Hazardous?
I sure am.
Okay, great. Okay. So, we left off with some strange goings on not only potentially the Mars, on the moon. We don't even have to go very far. Whether it be the dark side or the light side, that there could be a lot more to the moon than we think. And you picked up some new news this week, or another thing that caught your eye?
Well, periodically I watch this YouTube channel called The Y Files.
Nice.
I highly recommend it. It is quite interesting stuff. He talks about anything, I mean, going from like paranormal, aliens, people disappearing, I mean, all sorts of stuff. I was watching one of his episodes the other day, and it was about how grays are us a million years in the future, And we're living in this, I forget what word he used to describe the system we're in. Started with a B, some scientific term. But essentially, we created artificial intelligence, right?
Okay.
Artificial intelligence merges with biological entities, us, and after a million or so years, turned into the Greys, which developed time travel, which then goes back in time to seed our ancestors with its own knowledge. So it's this paradoxical loop system. So if it wasn't for the Greys, we wouldn't exist. If it's not for us, the Greys wouldn't exist. We are the one and the same system.
Well, that's mighty interesting. That's something to think about.
Yeah.
So we're the Greys in the future.
Yes. And a lot of scientists are actually wondering if that's true now.
Well, one thing that I've heard that's interesting that relates to space travel in general, that when you're up there in anti-gravity or, you know, in zero gravity for extended periods of time, that your growth, let's say you were born on a vehicle with very limited gravity, that your limbs would be all shrunken up and your head would be all big. And that's pretty much the description of a lot of these, the Gray, if you will.
There's kind of a deeper complexity to that whole like physical form as well. When you hear descriptions of the Greys, you always hear kind of this non-gendered being, right? Like there's no male or female. You don't see genitalia, breasts, or what have you, right?
Right.
Well, with the lowering of testosterone in the human species, which has actually been proven to be happening over the last couple decades, probably since about, scientists started noticing it in the 70s into the 80s, and it's getting a lot faster and a lot worse today than it was back then. But if that keeps progressing, that shrinks the male genitalia, and it essentially brings the male-female difference closer and closer and closer over time into one form. So in a million years from now, they're saying it's extremely plausible that
I see where you're going.
We will have to essentially, in order to replicate ourselves or procreate, in quotations, we would have to do that in a test tube and make ourselves.
Well, that doesn't sound like any fun at all.
No, it sounds god-awful.
It does. You know, aliens aside on that particular subject, the way that we humans, especially those that consider themselves in control of things, they have always liked doing devious crap on the general public. And
testing and whatnot.
Yeah. And in the modern era, with a certain type of archetype being in constant power and feelings of superiority within that group, this whole war on toxic masculinity, what they describe as toxic masculinity,
is the average man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy to put aside the aliens and like with other conspiracies like COVID or other things to think that this was initially started on purpose. You know, because the last thing they want is you know, really strong males in society, right, where, you know, it's harder to control. And yeah, so man,
it really makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Well, you know, it's one of those. You start playing God with things and you don't know what, you know, the law of unforeseen consequences. Like, oh, if we could just reduce, you know, toxic masculinity within the society a little bit, you know, we wouldn't be bullied so much. We wouldn't all this crap that they talk about. It's the bullies and
lower the general testosterone. Males or the human species, we'd be less violent. Well, no, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Because we would just find something else to fight over. It's in our nature.
Or just weird things. Okay, now this is a subject I want to broach and say it and throw it out there. But I have this. It's one of those things. If you talk about it, you're going to offend somebody. Right. What comes to mind with that when you say that? Well, you might lower the testosterone doesn't mean you're going to diminish some of the more violent tendencies within a population. For example, people this day and age that are trying to deny their gender and change and alter their gender. With regards to
they're the most violent.
With regards to males, doing that, it ends up being worse. You know, they you know, hey, I'm a girl, and I can act all feminine, but the very next second, kapow, stab, you know, chop, just shoot, and
sorry, just real quick, press enter for me.
Enter.
There you go. Anyway,
thanks.
Continue.
No, let me pause. I think that's all that needs to be that I need to say about that.
No, I agree, and I think the majority of the population sees that trend, and that is why this whole quote unquote woke agenda has failed miserably over the last year or so, is because people started waking up to that.
Yeah, they're not winning any arguments.
No, it doesn't.
Wow.
But then you have to wonder, like, why was Bill Gates, you know, so adamant about turning frogs gay?
Right. I remember when Alex Jones was just ridiculed. I mean, not that he doesn't open himself up for that anyway, but you know, the only person that
he's
ever
a bit
talked
nutty, but he's not totally wrong about what he says. I mean, he's wrong about some, yes.
But when he brought out
everything,
the gay frogs thing, everybody just laughed their asses off, and it's true, you know. I think there's a lot of people out there that sometimes some of the most intelligent among us are the worst psychopaths,
the most evil,
right? Because they can rationalize it in their
they see
thinking
as better than the rest, so they want to get rid of the rest so they can just be the top of the crop, you know.
We've definitely seen
I don't understand.
Yeah, and we have, you know, it's undeniable history that we have been engaging in eugenics programs for decades and decades and decades and decades.
Yeah.
So
Epstein was doing that.
Now that I don't know about.
No, he was.
I haven't.
He was doing a lot of research into that in his Arizona compound. He was supposedly, I mean, Now, we'll see if this ends up being true or not, but supposedly he was breeding with a bunch of women simultaneously, and he could very well have over 150 babies or kids out there somewhere.
Right, a bunch of little Epsteins.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he's probably not the only one at all. No.
Since they have such a superiority complex, he can't be the only one.
Right. Okay, Mr. Trump, President Trump. Forgive me, Mr. President. Said there's a lot of interesting documents that they've discovered, and there's another quote, and I need to find it, the longer conversation or things that he's commented on this, where he's said, I don't believe it. In one hand, he'll say interesting stuff, and you can go out and check out the phenomena on your own. But then, is it aliens? He's like, I don't believe it. Now that's interesting. There are actual ties to the Trump family that go back to the Tesla days.
Right, I'm aware of that.
Right, so that where he was living and his involvement with Daddy Trump, not President Trump, that Trump's father, and potentially the grandfather, that in that history and time period, Tesla was a huge figure in his lifetime. He was not an obscure figure by any means. He was the man. And he was huge. And it does make sense to me that, where he was living, and either way, that the Trumps had a lot to do with, they knew a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's said that his great grandfather, his dad's dad, was one of his lab assistants.
No, that I don't know. That I have never heard. That's awesome.
His lab got shut down. Supposedly, Granddaddy Trump, I'll refer to him as, ended up with a lot of the files.
Yes.
And those were passed down to Trump's dad and now to Trump, and that's where he gets a lot of his knowledge from.
So my cover art today, I've got a representation of the president, and I've got UFO in the sky, and they're all branded, like made in the USA, Lockheed Martin, Boeing. So since we're talking about Tesla, the idea that, now I've read this in books, so it's nothing I'm just pulling out of my rear end here. In some books, it says that Tesla's early involvement with the United States government for research and development, that he proposed his flying platforms. And anybody who's read anything about Tesla has probably heard about Tesla's flying platforms. So it's said that at the time that he was pushing that, he encouraged the United States government to skip jet engine technology research and development altogether. So it's right at the same period where jet technology is coming in. So they have been blackboxing Tesla technology since 1917. We would, if the government would have just let things go and let him do what he wanted to do, we would have had Wi-Fi probably by 1920-25. So his towers not only were to transmit energy from point to point through the air, it was to transmit all kinds of things. Tesla's quoted as saying that in the future you'll be able to put have instant communication, see anybody, and it'll all fit in your pocket. So basically where we're at right now.
It said that the oil barons of the day were the ones that really started to push the government away from Tesla, because they would have gone broke.
Yeah, they didn't understand the technology, and they didn't understand the idea of a subscription service, and they had no idea. It basically comes down to they didn't know how to charge for it. So they're like, if you're going to just
well, why am I going to pay millions of dollars to run this train track to move my oil that is refined to gas that I also help make and make a bunch of money off of? If you suddenly start transmitting power to everybody for free, you're going to be cutting off my funds.
Yeah.
I'll no longer be able to make money. So that's kind of partly of Tesla's downfall.
And his big backer being JP Morgan.
Right. And they started out as kind of buddies, and then once JP Morgan figured out that he wanted to transmit power to the people for free, he was out, because he understood that, well, my money comes from oil. Oil is the current energy source. So if you're going to try and do that, you're going to be cutting off my livelihood, so I'm going to cut you off.
Yeah, and that's so, I mean, it makes total sense. That's just the driving nature of humans, to be greedy, envious, or whatever, but not knowing where the future would be today. Like, no matter what, we still need oil. Right. You know, the idea that, dude, come on, really? Oh, it's going to hurt you that much? The whole world is going to rely on oil.
These people that are so against oil and fossil fuels, I really get a kick out of, because they're like, oh, we got to get rid of all of it. I'm like, okay, take your makeup off.
Yeah, I'm losing power. What is going on? As a matter of fact, I'm like stalling speed. Whoa. Whoa, let's turn off auto throttle. Let me try to just turn off auto throttle and throw it in full throttle.
What do you have your, just manually set your speed knob up there and see if it'll just hold there.
Manual speed set to 284 knots. Wow. This is dangerous. This is really dangerous.
You're like at landing speeds here.
Uh-huh. Let me try to do an altitude hold for a moment. We're only at 36,000 feet. This climb has been horrible.
Hold on, give me a second. I'll be right back. 2 seconds.
Sir. Yes. Yeah, I got to figure this out anyway. So I'm trying to do an altitude hold and get the nose level down and start building up some speed again. And then we can do a very shallow vertical speed. All right, so we're talking about today's big question is how do you feel about what the president has said recently about aliens? Or not, he didn't even mention aliens. The release of UFO and UAP files. And he's encouraging the Department of War to release these information. I'm just recapping. And he's encouraging Pete Hegseth over at Department of War to release UFO, UAP documents. But then he says, I don't believe it's aliens. Now, if I didn't know what I know about Tesla tech and other technologies that have been suppressed, I would still be in that I believe in UFOs mindset. Now, it's not that I don't believe in them. It's just that I don't think we're there yet. Maybe. I think if we were to have pushed forward or do push forward with this technology that we're talking about from Tesla and other pioneers, that we could potentially definitely draw attention to ourselves with regards to alien neighbors. That's
we already have.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a different subject. I mean, we've definitely talked about Anunnaki before.
Well, not only that, but the nuclear signatures every time we detonate a nuclear bomb.
So, and recently also, all this talk about a bunch of notable scientists that are all working in aerospace and exotic
11
technologies. Yeah, 11 so far.
11 of them just poof, disappeared, leaving their cell phones at home.
Or dead.
Just, or disappearing.
Yeah.
Gone, poof, no trace whatsoever.
All right. Now, oh boy.
Hey, Lazy. I see you in chat there. I got
Autopilot the alt hold.
How's Mrs. Lazy?
Yeah, that's the first thing. How is Mrs. Lazy doing? So we'll find out. Hopefully, say some prayers for Mrs. Lazy. Yeah, she had to go to the. Well, it's none of my business to talk about. Just say your prayers for Mrs. Lazy. Yeah, so if anybody would like to weigh in, the link to the Discord voice chat is in the chat room if you would like to come in and weigh in on anything we're talking about today. We're talking about the president saying he wants UFO, UAP documents released, but he doesn't necessarily feel that they're aliens. And we've been talking about human-created technologies that have been around that are not general public knowledge that could be what most people have been seeing all the way back before the 1940s. So when you introduce something like Tesla was pushing electromagnetic flying platforms before 1920, then we make our way up to Kenneth Arnold in the 40s, it seems entirely possible that people have been running with that technology for a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of early science fiction stories, like radio programs, when they do radio dramas. One thing that really stuck out to me listening to old radio dramas and watching old sci-fi was how early American military was very afraid of these deep European countries like Yugoslavia, where people like Tesla came from, that were developing all this strange electromagnetic technology, flying saucers, robots. And every time in these stories where the Americans go over there and they encounter it, we destroy everything. Humanity is not ready for that, Nancy. And it's that very American point of view. No, we must destroy everything. And that's usually the way those old stories played out. That Dr. Doom, the whole idea of Dr. Doom, you've got some guy that's the sovereign of this weird foreign country with this advanced technology that we don't have. So it goes back a long way.
It's said that we're a civilization living in
with amnesia?
With amnesia, yeah. We destroyed ourselves, or something really terrible happened, and we're trying to not repeat our own past by destroying things that we've see as leading to what caused our demise before.
Lazy is bringing up the Orson Welles War of the Worlds radio broadcast that shook everybody up because they believed it was real at that time. Radios were still new, and people were...
Part of the problem is they didn't start the broadcast with, and this is just a story,
Right.
They started that thing like it was a news blip, and everybody was in danger, you know.
Right. They weren't cutting in every 5 minutes with Kellogg's commercials.
No.
I mean, they didn't. I mean, they really, you know. And then the sincerity of all the actors trying to make it believable.
Oh, the humanity!
Just wow. I can't imagine. And then again, technology was so new and not so widespread, but enough that it could create a giant situation like that. That's crazy. Orson Welles.
I also believe that with all the media and movies, music, etc., we are being programmed for what is potentially going to happen in the future. So the government has everything planned out. They know everything, right?
Yeah.
And they have this specific path that we're supposed to follow in their mind. So they produce this content like 2001: A Space Odyssey,
Star Trek
or Star Wars, and it's supposed to settle us into the idea of futuristic technology, aliens, space battles, and the survival of our species, you know.
And there's proof to back that up. Undeniable proof that, and again, I don't have the date, year, I don't have the documents in front of me. The United States of America, our oldest think tank is called the Brookings Institution. And at some point in the late 50s, early 60s, somewhere in there, the Brookings Institution brought a bunch of experts or people together, like Walt Disney, supposedly Carl Sagan, just a bunch of people, and talked to them about the ramifications of first contact on society. That whole idea that society isn't ready to know about aliens because it would collapse everything.
Well,
the real fear
in
of that
in their time,
in their world, yeah, in their time, yeah,
they weren't ready because they hadn't been exposed to it. But by now, with all the media, the content, the movies that they themselves have produced.
Yeah, and that was the goal. That was the outcome of the Brookings Institution think tank discussions on that subject. That if we don't start indoctrinating society now, over the next 100 years, we could collapse. Everything will collapse. We could, and and that, I guess back then for sure, nobody even knew what a microwave was. I mean, it's hard to imagine how just so, like during the 70s growing up, how the world was more like Dukes of Hazzard than it is today. We're so much closer to Star Trek now than we've ever been, but back in just as little as 1970. The average mentality of the average American civilian was way more Dukes of Hazzard. So yeah, they planned things exactly like you're saying, that Star Trek was created to introduce these ideas, computers, floppy disks,
the slow rollout, or what seems like a slow rollout of technology, like fiber optics, for example.
Yes.
That didn't just pop out of nowhere.
Right.
That was technology that I believe we recovered and figured out how to use, and it was probably 15 years before they actually rolled that out to the general public.
Oh yeah, they didn't even know what to do with it when it first came out. I remember just going to the mall during Christmas, and they're like, look, we've got these fibers that we can shine lights through and make things, and like they didn't even know how to
flashlight wand thing.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like nobody even knew what to do with it. Computers
and now it's fiber optics is running our internet and our audio equipment and all sorts of stuff.
Absolutely. Somehow or another, I've talked. This is weird. I didn't touch anything. I've just been sitting here talking, and it tuned over to an ATIS channel where it's broadcasting the ATIS. So let's go find out what's going on in the cockpit. This happened to me the other day. It just suddenly just went to an ATIS channel and just kept spamming it. It's the aliens, man. They're hacking the show.
Low voltage check.
Hey, Lazy says, by the way, kids, drink your Ovaltine.
Every time I hear the word Ovaltine, I just think of A Christmas Story.
I don't remember the movie that well. Was it? It was a big in the movie. Drink your Ovaltine.
He some about he had to get the code ring or something from the Ovaltine ad or something. I
really?
Forget. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch that again. I watched it as a kid.
My dad loves that movie. He watches it for Christmas every year. I don't like the movie. There's something about it. It just bothers me.
We're gonna have to have this conversation again because Lazy says he was a low voltage tech his whole life.
Low voltage stuff is quite interesting.
Yeah. I think just electronics in general, anything like that, is fascinating.
I watch a guy on YouTube that rebuilds old radios. It's called Amateur Repair Time.
Oh, neat.
And he's opening up these old radios from the 1930s, messing with glass tubes and stuff like that, trying to figure out how to fix them. It's so interesting. He's looking over the wiring schematics and
there's
replacing stuff. It's cool.
There's a very young gentleman. I want to say he's in his early 20s on X, Mr. Parkenstein, and it was like this kid came right out of 1920. It's like he was born, like he's reincarnated, because he's like a master at all things old technology. He's got old radios, old this, old that. He's building Tesla equipment all over the place. Anyway, just this young genius. I was amazed to learn about foxhole radio back in the day, and that's really low voltage radio. And in some cases,
foxhole radio, because that was what the soldiers used in the foxholes, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And interesting for the most part that sometimes they didn't even really have low voltage. It just depends on how much wire you had to string out, because the wire itself could induce a charge. Anyway,
right.
Interesting stuff. I think the leaders of space and time are the electricians. I think Tesla's saying, I think the universe is electric, like an electric machine. It operates like an electric machine. Leads me to believe that people who have that electronics mindset, once a lot of this technology is released to the public, that it's maybe not as complex as we think. It's not as exotic as we think.
Well, I think everything in the universe can be measured electronically through like static waves.
Great way to put it.
Things like that. So it's not that I disagree with him, but I don't wholly agree with the way he described it. I just think that there's like a universal static that fluctuates throughout the universe, and you can read it and use that in different ways. Right.
When we were growing up, it was forced down our throats that space didn't carry charge.
Yeah.
And that one concept right there alone has screwed everything. Because people now have a very difficult time conceptualizing what's going on in space as electrical phenomena. Everything's now gravitational based. It's got to be a gravitational effect. And the new science is saying that, yeah, Tesla may have been more right. We have more evidence and to prove now that what's going on in the space between planets is an electrical phenomenon, and that all of space, the whole cosmic web thing, that everything is linked electronically. It's kind of a tough one to explain.
Yeah. And while you were saying that, I happened to look down at the date, and I realized what date it is. It's 420.
It is 420.
And I remembered, 420 was Hitler's birthday.
I had never heard that.
420 is Hitler's birthday.
I did not know that.
But then that made me trail off in my mind a bit about how the Nazi Party actually went down to Antarctica and supposedly found an alien base or civilization of some kind underneath the ice.
To me, the alien bases at either poles seems to make a great amount of sense. Okay.
I agree.
Because if you're looking at things electrically, North and South Pole, it's where the currents come into the planet.
Right.
And so if you're going to have a base, why would you? You could still have bases everywhere else, but that would be your primary base, either at the positive or the negative pole.
Right.
So a lot of this technology, they have been releasing over the years. They've been talking about EM drive since 2012. EM drive is an
electromechanical.
Yeah, electromagnetic engines.
Right.
Instead of fuel engines, because that whole idea is that you can get into space, but you'll always need more fuel. And so the idea that you can harvest fuel in space either by drawing in deuterium, using like a coil, a ram scoop to draw in deuterium and hydrogen to power your vehicle. The other is that these currents that we're talking about that extend between all bodies in space, basically like highways and roads, and that if you're in one of these currents, that you can just draw that current in through your towers and use that as propulsion.
Some say that's why the ancient Egyptians had pyramids and obelisks, and they were capped with gold or bronze or whatever to capture that energy, and that the pyramids weren't built as tombs. They were built as big batteries and power generation facilities.
Yeah, they never really have said that they've ever found bodies in these pyramids.
As far as I know, they've never found a body in a pyramid.
Yeah.
And then you hear these new stories of them doing those deep underground scans that go like 2 miles deep, and they see these big coiled columns and big chambers like 1.5 miles underground, and it's like, well, what is that?
It blows my mind. It blows my mind in general that how easy they were able to carve into the bedrock. I was watching a show recently.
Well, there's no way that like what we see Egyptians as. I don't think they did that. They found it.
Yes.
And it's from some previous civilization that was there. And
yeah.
Information that they obtained by studying that is now in that secret underground labyrinth library underneath the Sphinx that they refuse to acknowledge.
Yeah, I do believe that there's a lot of ancient Egyptian documents that actually say this stuff was here by the time we were here.
Yeah.
That we did not build this. And there's plenty of the old ancient Babylonian and Sumerian tablets, which are just becoming popular these days after people like Zachariah Sitchin began his translations. And other one, this real interest in their tablet translations, saying that, yeah, it was actually like Anunnaki that had come and built this, and they were setting up spaceports all over the place. And so if these translations, kind of going back to your first statement, I just want to know the truth.
Right.
That one, when you start bringing in religion and human origins into these studies, into these topics about extraterrestrials, us becoming grays, but either way, when you start bringing up the origins, man, people get really testy. And when you start,
it's not well, and I do want to say that just because we say we were a manufactured being, okay, by some ancient civilization like the Anunnaki, that doesn't necessarily discount the stories of the Bible, right?
Amen.
Like, I wholeheartedly believe that Jesus was a real man. Those stories are true. And at the time, going through our amnesia process, we saw that as something other than it really was, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, like, it's not that I read the Bible every day, but I wholeheartedly believe that it's a true story. And I pray to Jesus and God every day, you know. There's definitely a higher power.
Stitchin himself was very religious, especially in his early days. And that's where a lot of his questions for seeking the truth about us, Nephilim, Elohim, his teachers couldn't answer those questions. And so he always attributes his search to go find this information was because his biblical teachers couldn't answer questions that were in the Bible.
Well, and it doesn't help that they erased a lot of large pieces of the Bible, like the book of Enoch, you know?
Yeah.
I think if they would have left that stuff in there as a whole book, right?
Right.
Society would be in a different place today.
Yes. You're talking about the creation of the King James Bible, which came to the common man. And at the Diet of Worms, when all the biblical academics came together to decide what should be in the common person's Bible, the King James Version, as we know it today, what should be in and what should be left out. And a lot was left out. Now,
well, and we didn't even know about the book of Enoch until some guy threw a rock up into a cave and heard something break and climbed up there and found it with all the scrolls.
The Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, there's There's an assembly that happens at the Vatican every now and then. I don't know much about the Vatican, but I do know this, that it's called the Liturgical Assembly. And when people have questions that are beyond what's in the Bible, they go into a closed room and they put the Bible in the middle of the room, and they have all these podiums in a ring, and they bring out all the other books that were left out. And so then they can ask those kind of questions and go to sources like the Book of Enoch, the Book of Mary, the Book of this, Book of that. And anyway, they have the answers. Losing things like the library at Alexandria, too, that didn't really help.
No, it didn't.
I have a big problem with people that love destroying history. And
and there's a problem with ignoring history nowadays as well. And pretending things didn't happen and leaving stuff out intentionally just to avoid the topic.
Yeah.
The process of learning and discovery is, in my opinion, supposed to put you on edge, make you a little uncomfortable, and push you to thinking in a different way.
Going back to the idea of the cultural amnesia, one, it wasn't until the Greeks that we even actually, I think, started recording history, at least in Western civilization. And then we live such short lifespans that it's so easy over a single generation to lose so much knowledge. It's just, what's 50 to 100 years? It's nothing. And so for an entire generation to just forget something, it's pretty easy. The fact that we've made it this far and have held on to as much history and knowledge as we do.
We're talking like 1,000 years now, so
yeah.
Who knows what we've forgotten.
Because of all the Anunnaki stuff, and other things in the modern day dealing with aliens, I still do believe. I believe also in, because of faith, the potential for demons, angels, demons, spiritual beings, not necessarily just physical extraterrestrials like ourselves.
Right.
So I kind of tend to believe it all. I still believe, like today, that a lot of these things that people think are UFOs, that we're smarter than that. Give us credit for being a little smarter than that. That we are the ones creating this stuff. Oh, going back to quickly on the religious thing. I was very delighted to come across a passage in one of his books, which is a discussion between two Anunnaki themselves. And one part of the discussion is the worry that when they did give us their DNA, that we would become as smart as them and very much like them. And, are we playing God? And they were having that.
We didn't play God. They did.
They did. Yeah, them discussing, are we playing God?
Yeah.
And one of them says to the other one that we don't even know where we came from. That on Nibiru, their histories go back so far, they don't even know their own origin. They don't know who created them. They don't know where the hell they came from like anybody else. And it's also said amongst Greys or other aliens that people have supposedly had conversations with, whenever it comes down to discussing God, they seem to all say the same thing. You know as much about God as we do. that even to advanced races, he
Like,
remains a
they
mystery.
acknowledge that there is something there, but they don't know what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I try to alleviate some of the nervousness of my biblical friends by pointing out things like that, like you're saying, it doesn't discount the Lord. It doesn't discount Jesus. It doesn't do away with in any way.
Right. It builds upon it in a
Yes.
way.
Yeah, it almost to me it reinforces it.
Yeah.
I remember being a kid and some teacher, I don't remember who or when, but I remember it was shocking. At that time in life, people telling you either believe in science or you believe in faith. Like you had to pick.
Yeah. Right.
And something in my spirit, upon hearing that as a young kid, immediately rejected it. I didn't buy that from the moment that it touched my ears.
That reminds me, I was watching, I think it was a Y-Files episode a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about this really smart science professor guy that was a kind of, I describe him as like a devout atheist because he was so into science, right? His thought process was the typical, like, if you can't prove it in science, then it never happened, right?
Right.
Well, he started digging into biblical things and stuff of that nature, and he's now a devout Christian because he came across stuff that he himself could not explain. It's like if you're not even smart enough as a Harvard scientist to wrap your mind around some of this stuff, then you can't prove it or disprove it. So why not believe it?
So I'm going back to me as a little kid, hearing that either you believe in science or you believe in faith, and thinking to myself, at the rate we're going, science will be able to prove the existence of God, and firmly believing that. So
I'm hoping so.
So I try to say now, with what I've learned in the last decade, I try to make an argument for people saying, you believe in your fairy tale God. And I'm like, well, what part about it? Well, a being that's omniscient. Okay. Or a being that's omnipotent and all-powerful. Okay. Normally I'm getting those in the form of tweets. People telling me, you're full of shit. Your fairy tale God doesn't exist. He's nobody's omnipotent and omnipresent. And I'm like, wow. You sent that to me in a tweet over an electric current from thousands of miles away. And you could have attached video to it. And if you wanted to see me, you could have. We're living in a universe where everything is electrically connected. For example, just call it God's broadband system. You're a bioelectric being. Everything's bioelectric. Do you think that an entity couldn't see through your eyes if he wanted to, or she? Do you think that entity couldn't communicate with you if he or she wanted to? Remote control your ass? Pardon my language. If they wanted to? But, they don't even realize that in their own hand, they just typed that in and sent that out to the whole world in real time. They don't even understand where we are technologically. Maybe that doesn't make a good argument for the Lord, but I do believe it does, because I've always tried to grapple with how can a being be omnipresent and omnipotent. And you can have a camera set up in Siberia and be watching it. That's pretty omnipresent.
Yeah.
I could communicate with you on the other side of the... I mean, basically what we're doing now. I mean, we're watching a video game. I'm sending out electronic signals of me playing a flight simulator. I'm having a conversation with you. We're basically just out of the Stone Age, and we're doing all this high-level advanced computer stuff on electric currents. And those same currents run through all of existence. Doesn't seem a far stretch.
And the universe.
Yeah, through all of existence. So it doesn't seem far-fetched to me to think that there is a being out there that may or may not have created the whole thing that has a better computer system than we do. They're like, thoughts and prayers? Shove your thoughts and prayers up your rear end. Really? You're a bioelectric being. What you're thinking goes out. You know? Your thoughts can be transmitted out into the ether. You don't think a creator? That one really bothers me when they're like, you know, especially when their agenda is, I'm going to take your guns behind it. Really, it just pisses me off. Something fierce, man. That's fighting words. You know, when you try to say thoughts and prayers don't matter.
Yes, they do.
I believe so, man.
I think with enough thought, even just thought into something, can make something happen.
Yeah.
Whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah.
And that kind of reinforces like the whole God thing.
The idea
There's a little bit
yeah.
of him in each and every one of us. If he's omnipotent and that powerful, we have a little bit of that power too.
There
So enough of us come together thinking the same exact thing, we can make something happen.
Yeah, the government has been real quiet about the subject of Birkeland currents and if they're being used for broadcast. There's no such subjects out there right at the moment. There's very few people around the world even talking about it. You know what? I mean, yeah. Anyway, we have these electric currents that run through everything. We can transmit and receive data through electric currents. I think if scientists are being killed, I think a lot of them are working in areas like that. Well,
a lot of them actually were working in the anti-gravity fields of science, which I find interesting.
Yeah.
I think it was about eight of the 11 were in the anti-gravity field. Like, why? What's so specific about that?
Lazy says, you could be AI and not know it.
Yeah, I read that a minute ago.
Most likely.
You never know.
Most likely. You know, we're living in a...
I often wonder if we're all just living in a simulation.
That one, I was waiting for that one to come up, that we're all living in a simulation. So you're saying God is playing, that the God likes The Sims.
God, we are just another NPC.
That's it. We're just a sim.
GTA.
Uh-huh. There you go. Whatever sim you're playing, right? That's it. And when no matter how you put it into perspective, that's kind of all what it comes out to be. You know.
Hold on, give me 2 seconds. I gotta go turn my AC on. It's getting hot in here.
That's all right. It's top of the hour, a little after the top of the hour. Time for me to take a break anyway and play a song. So if you want to weigh in on this, do it quickly. Come into the voice chat. I'm going to be landing soon, I believe. Let's see here. Yeah, we're getting really close. They should be bringing me down. Bruce. I haven't gotten an order to descend. I better start trying to kick that in. Anyway, let me play an ad and play a song, and we'll be right back.
Flight level tree 50.
Pin Sierra Victor India 57, Salt Lake Center. Radar contact. Continue to CADA.
You talk like you've got nothing to lose, like the sky's just something you can abuse. Every shortcut, every bend, you call it skill, I call pretend.
Oh, here you go with your holy act, like your hands are clean and your wings intact.
You fly by rules like they're divine.
I just get there faster every time.
You're gonna get us both in flames.
You're gonna bore us to the grave.
Same cockpit, different names. We're on the same runway, different lives, reading different truths in the same old skies.
You say hold it steady, I say roll the dice.
Somewhere in between might keep us alive.
We don't agree, but we're side by side.
On the same runway,
different lives. I've seen what happens when luck runs dry. There's no clever line,
no alibi,
just silence ringing in your ears,
and a lifetime packed in seconds of fear.
Yeah, I've seen it too.
Don't think I haven't.
I just don't freeze.
When the odds start slanting,
You hesitate.
I take the lead.
That's the difference that we both need.
You push too far,
You cross the line.
you hold too back.
You waste the time.
Still we climb. We're on the same runway, different lies.
You trust the book, I trust the signs.
You say be careful, I say be quick.
Funny how both can do the trick.
We don't agree, but we're side by side. On the same runway,
Different lies.
engines off. Did you see that drop?
I had it handled,
Just let me talk. You almost lost it at 23.
yeah.
And who brought us back? That'd be me. Wait. Yeah, that crosswind,
You called it first.
and your correction.
Yeah, it worked.
Maybe we're not as wrong as we thought. We're on the same runway, same damn fight.
Turning wrongs into something right.
You bring the caution,
I bring the sparks.
somehow we land in the dark.
We don't agree, but we're side by side.
Now it's less about who was right.
Same runway, same sky. Different voices,
But we still fly.
I love that song. Same Runway, Different Lies by Suno AI. Thank courtesy of Hazardous FDM, who's been here in the voice chat with me. If anybody else would like to quickly pop in and weigh in on anything we've been talking about, feel free. Today's the day. We're going to have this conversation more when some other folks are available, like Mr. Lazy. I really want to hear what he has to say. Older gentleman. All right, so I'm trying to bring us down to make our descent not too heavy, but they haven't brought us down yet. I'm hoping that they do real soon.
Where are you flying into?
Casper, Wyoming again.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you said you did have plans to stream today. Has that changed?
No, not really.
What time are you shooting for today? It's 2 o'clock now. 2:11.
I don't know. My typical time is 3:30. So.
Because I can wrap this up right quick.
Oh no. I'm not in a huge hurry. So. I mean, 3:30 is fine. I have no problem with that.
Okay. All right. I tried starting a little. I was hoping this would be wrapped up. It was only a 2-hour flight, so I thought, yeah, I was hoping I'd be done by now.
What I could do in my stream, though, because a lot of people are getting on me. You know, Lazy was getting on me last night about starting a company and making better money. And then I was trying to explain, you know, I at least want a couple $100,000 in the bank to be able to not only buy the plane but make repairs on it. Because the discounted plane they get you, it's a used plane, so it automatically needs a few repairs.
Yeah.
So I at least need to finance that. And he's like, well, just don't crash it. I'm like, well, my name's not hazardous for a reason, you know, like, I'm hazardous. So it's expected that I'm going to crash the thing. And lo and behold, he crashes his jet on landing last night into Colombia.
Oh, did he really? Oh, my.
Well, it was actually really stupid. He had a perfect flight. Awesome. No problems whatsoever. He came in and landed perfectly. Butter. But the game didn't recognize him landing, so he had to redo the landing. And when he came back on his second landing try, he had a bit of a boo-boo.
Oh, it happens to the best of us, boy.
It does.
It
right?
just, yeah. Oh, man.
So currently, the plane you're flying in, I think, is the one he was in.
Yeah.
He crashed it.
I watched a video today that it's a bit of information that I swear I hadn't heard before about landing hazardous. And it's the most frequent cause of death amongst new pilots and actually surprisingly amount of experienced pilot teachers. And that is the use of rudder on final.
Oh, okay. I could see that.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So all of my tip overs as I've been flying, and you've been seeing me flying, I'm coming in for landing and I tip the thing over. It's usually been using rudder. So
I try and never touch my rudder.
So yeah, the video I watched today was discussing how many teachers themselves are doing the dying because experience leads to complacency and or mistakes, and that you need to approach every landing like you're a student and only use ailerons to ever correct on a final to get back onto the center line. Now, I'm sure there are some that may agree, disagree. It depends on how much power you have. There's a lot going on when you're coming in for a landing. But it's usually the lack of power and then using your rudder which induces the wing dip, and tip. So, yeah.
Well, I think there's a very small minor component that a lot of pilots are overlooking, and it's something that I learned in my previous stream from what's his name? Drawing a blank. Why am I drawing a blank?
Nerd Droid?
Yeah, Nerd Droid. When I asked him what the importance of setting that barometric pressure setting in the plane is, why change that? What's so important with it? Well, the barometric pressure changes depending on altitude, thus changing how your plane responds in said pressure, right? So if your plane thinks it's at a different pressure level, it will respond differently as you're landing. So it may land harder or softer depending on the airport's altitude.
Yeah, you were talking about barometric pressure.
Right.
Right.
So I think a lot of people ignore that. And I always have.
There aren't any training exercises on that itself. You know, like in this training exercise, we're gonna fly to 3 different runways. You know, yeah, there's not a good training lesson for that.
But that's just like one minor part of what could be causing a lot of crashes. You know, there's a stack of things of reasons why people crash.
Oh boy, yeah.
But I think that's one that is so overlooked that I had no idea was even a thought or a possibility as to why somebody might land hard on a runway.
Yeah, and another thing, and I'm totally guilty of this one, totally, is just that because it's a game, we're impatient, and that we try to, in the real world too, they said the human tendency to think you can save a bad landing instead of going around. Right, it's going to take 10 more minutes, right? Just go around, or however long it takes. And instead of just trying to, I can save it, let me just get this damn thing down, I'm tired, and thinking you can when you know you shouldn't. Coming in too fast, you can feel it. Coming in sideways, you just know it, you know? But yeah, we don't. Like, what the hell? At least in the game, for me anyway, in the simulator, it's so easy to, let me just try to put it down no matter what. I don't care if I botch it.
And I think if you're in free fly, you know, just flying some random plane, messing around, fine. Go ahead, throw it to the ground, have your fun, right?
Yeah.
But if you're in your company's plane, and you've spent millions of dollars on that damn thing, fly around. Like, just take it a little bit more seriously.
Right.
Just when I spend money on a company plane for myself, I'm going to do my damnedest to pay a little bit more attention to what I'm doing.
Right. Chalk it up as an opportunity to learn how to do your holds, missed approach, to file your missed approach with ATC, to publish it, and to do whatever you need to do to go back around. Lately, I've been skipping just going to my hold points and starting out there. As I just usually go back and find an earlier waypoint and just go back in and try it coming in again.
There's no shame in trying again.
Nope.
It's better than crashing the plane and costing yourself hundreds of thousands or possibly millions of dollars.
Yeah. I think Lazy took exception to me saying he's an older gentleman. He's like, I'm not old. He's 52. You know what? I'm older than Mr. Lazy. I'm 56. But the point I was making, he's an older gentleman. He's got a longer perspective, you know. He's got at least from the late 60s, early 70s perspective.
Right. Where I'm a younger gentleman.
Yeah.
I'm only 38. So,
but you're well versed. It's a subject that you've tried to pay attention to.
Oh yeah, because I personally find it very interesting. Especially since growing up, I've always had this feeling like, how to explain this? Like, I have a very old soul. Like I've been around a couple times. I sometimes joke and say I'm a little bit psychic. I can see things happening, and they sometimes do happen that way, and I'm like, well, I'm not surprised.
Right.
And I tell my wife stuff all the time, you know, and she'll ask me like what I think or about something or how something is going to go, and I'll explain my point of view, and then lo and behold, it happens just like I explained it. And I say, I don't know what it is. It's like I just know.
Intuition, I can put two and two together.
Yeah,
it's clicking.
I don't know if it's just intuition, but like I've had a number of people, even my parents have told me, you know, like the music I listen to or the genre of music I listen to, and stuff like that. They always said, you know, you have an old soul.
Yeah, definitely heard that expression before.
And sometimes I feel old. My back is shit. My right knee is garbage. So there's those days where it's just like, yeah, I'm starting to feel like I'm getting older, but I'm still only 38. I'm not that old, you know.
Well, before the show concludes, and going back to my cover art, and on us being, whether it's aliens or not, I believe a lot of the stuff that we're seeing out there in the skies today, in my personal opinion, is stuff that we've made. And I mentioned earlier in the show, I brought up Nikola Tesla, and I know he's not the only one, but he's one we can all go out and find information about. Did he actually say this? Did this actually happen? Was he really working on electromagnetic flying platforms? All the way back to 1917, yada, 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 yada. I think one of the things I want to bring up today, and possibly about the scientists, and what the connection could be, and then going back, tying it into what we've been talking about, the electric universe, and these currents that run between everything in space. Okay. When we first started out on the internet, I don't know about you, my first modem was like an 8,000 baud modem, you know, and then we worked out, oh my god, the 96,000K baud modems are out, you know.
Well, I think the first modem that I ever had in my house growing up was what, like a 56K
baud modem,
like
right?
That. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's this concept that these currents that run in space, that there's low, medium, high, and ultra speeds on these currents. Just depends on where you're at in the current. Okay.
You're on the center, you know, main band, or on an outer limit of it on either side.
Yeah.
The strength of that band changes.
Okay, so we've been talking about electromagnetic propulsion in space using these Birkeland currents for propulsion. And the idea that if you can tap into the fastest speeds in the current, going back to, it's basically the God circuit. The circuit that would allow a being to be omnipresent and omnipotent on the other side of creation itself. How can a being on the edge of creation tell what I'm thinking right now or look out of my eyes in real time. They say for the universe to even be laid out the way it is, there has to be some sort of symmetry, and that really only exists in like natural things, living things. So when you poke your finger or stub your toe, the transmission of that pain is pretty much instantaneous to your brain. Anyway, the idea that what we could achieve overnight, if this is all plausible in space travel, is instead of 3 months to Mars, you're talking about 3 minutes. And eventually faster. 30 seconds to Mars. 6 minutes to Pluto. That these pathways and channels in our own solar system could allow us to move that fast. Tesla said he didn't believe light speed was a limit at all.
I don't think it is.
That his data supposedly shows that around the superclusters existing in our own system, that light travels 50 times the speed that we know it at. So, to me, one of the things that does is it kind of kills the time travel idea, because the idea that if you go faster than light, you can do this, you can do that. I don't know. I used to believe in time travel. I don't know if I do anymore.
Well,
because
and see, I believe in time travel, and the reason why I do is because these supposed captured alien craft that, say, Bob Lazar was trying to reverse engineer use gravity to move. So they expand gravity behind the ship and compress it at the front, pushing it forward. And even Tesla said, and you know, almost every single other scientist on the planet have said that gravity and time are tied together, right? So if you're manipulating gravity, you're manipulating time, and if you're compressing time or expanding time, theoretically, you could go forward or backward in time just by traveling in one of these ships.
I can't say anything but plausible.
Right?
Right. I can. I can't.
Again, this
other than a lot of the other than a lot of new scientists working in this field with this idea of Birkeland currents, faster than light circuits, it's not that they don't believe in gravity. They don't use the word gravity because they believe gravity is just an electromagnetic phenomenon. So gravity, how do I say this? The power and the power of electromagnetics is a billion times stronger than gravity. The gravitic force, the electromagnetic force, is a billion times 10 plus the strength of gravity. So all I can say to that is that people working in electrogravitics, the reason why they could have anti-gravity is, again, you're manipulating the fields around you, like you're talking about, manipulating fields, manipulating what's in front of you or behind you. We live in a very interesting time, in a very interesting world, my friends, where all of these could be true. Like Hazard has opened up with. There's so much.
We'll just have to wait and see which conspiracy theories we're actually right about.
I think that if we were told how things operate out there, and a lot of this information wasn't being suppressed, I think that that people are smart enough to start realizing how to create electric propulsion in space and communications in space and faster than light travel, or at least up to light speeds to start.
Well, and for all we know, I mean, if Lockheed Martin and Boeing and all these private companies reverse engineered all these spacecraft, we already know it's just a matter of time, just like fiber optics. The fiber optics were discovered 15 years before we knew what a fiber optic was, So how long does it take from A to B? B being public knowledge, A being discovery. And I think they've manipulated that so it's a little bit longer. It's not like the 15-year fiber optic gap. Maybe it's 50 years now because they don't want to give it up.
Yeah. And going back to like Star Trek or when the aliens want to make contact with us, it's usually at that point. Like, once we've proved that we could travel our own neighborhood in 6 seconds, if we can get from here to Pluto and traverse our own solar system in a matter of minutes, that's probably a good idea to start making contact. Because it won't be long till we're out of our neighborhood and into their neighborhood, and
right.
We know how that goes.
I had the weirdest thought when that Artemis rocket was blasting off. It was as they lit the engines and it was shooting up into the sky. I just sat there thinking, what the hell are we doing? Look at all that energy we're putting into sending that little capsule to just the moon.
Yeah.
Seems like such a waste of fuel and time and energy when we all know that there is a much better way and a much smarter way to do it. I mean, Elon Musk is showing us how to reuse a frickin' rocket and land it and capture the thing, reuse the thing over and over again. And yeah, here we are dropping the thing in the ocean, using all this rocket fuel just to throw it away.
When I was a kid, there was a Bugs Bunny cartoon, like the Marvin Martian ones. Okay, so Bugs Bunny and or Marvin, they had a rocket that had no fins. Okay, in the Warner Brothers cartoons, the rockets that Bugs Bunny was using had no fins. And he takes off when he lands, or when he takes off, he's in the rocket sits inside of a little donut. And he takes off from the donut, and then when Bugs Bunny comes back, to save time, I think they just reverse the animation. So you see the rocket come down, and it lands inside that little donut. It has no fins. And I used to laugh about that, thinking, how can that thing fly without fins?
Yeah, it's shaped like a bullet. Yeah.
And when I saw the first landings of the SpaceX stuff, I was dumbfounded. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Bugs Bunny's aircraft. I mean, it's got some fins on it, but they're not real noticeable. It's not like you commonly project a rocket to look. And since we're so used to planes, like, well, where are the wings? Where's the stabilizers? Where's this? Where's that? And he's done it. Not only that, he can snatch it out of the air now.
Yeah.
So,
but Lazy just commented, they make these rocket engines in Utah, out in our desert.
Wow.
I forget the facility that they use. It's out there somewhere, Tremont somewhere. Think of the industries that it kills overnight by disclosing some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's very, very disruptive.
I mean, it's just like Tesla and the oil barons. You know, like who has more money to cancel out the other?
Yeah. I've been really bummed that Elon hasn't really got more into Tesla tech, but I think also with all the things we're talking about that, you know, it's still back stuff you don't want to talk about, and you don't want. It's still a very hostile planet.
He's probably under some secret government contract to make UFOs, and once it's all disclosed, he's going to pull a sheet off of one in some freaking warehouse and be like, "Look what I made."
Right. So a lot of these rocket launches and today, these things that we see in the sky, especially when they have humongous looking plumes around them, they just don't look like the rockets that we used to see growing up. And they're definitely not. But what we're seeing sometimes doesn't seem to match what we used to see. And I think they are actually employing some of these magnetohydrodynamic technologies in what they're doing. But again, it's not something that they're going to be discussing on the news.
You've seen how Tesla or SpaceX redesigned their rocket engine. Like, you look at one of the rockets from, say, the Artemis rocket that just blasted off, and you put it right next to one of the rockets that Elon uses for one of his rockets. They look so different. The one that Elon uses is simplified. It's lightweight. There's hardly anything to it. You can almost look at it and go, oh, this tube runs to that and is firing this fuel. And it looks very straightforward. You look at the one from NASA, it's complicated, it's heavy, there's tubes and hoses all over the freaking place, and you can't understand how it's made.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, what is the discrepancy here? Why makes one so different from the other?
Yes.
Why is Elon Musk better at designing a rocket engine than NASA that has been around for 100 years, you know,
and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars,
tax dollars put into that, and it looks like hot garbage. You look at Elon Musk's rocket engine, you're like, that's simple. Why couldn't they do that?
Well, that's a very good point. I am trying to land this thing and wrap the show up as fast as possible. And I flew over the airport, and now I'm flying back. And we were talking about do the landing right, even if you have to go around. And this conversation is so intriguing that just
it's distracting.
Very. So I'm trying to come down to at least
turbines, those wasteful turbines that you're flying on.
So trying to get down to 8,000 feet and bring this thing in for a landing.
Focus.
And I'm going up. I spun this thing the wrong way.
Still going up and out.
Yeah, still
hard.
Sure enough.
Trim down like 2% or something like that.
Oh, I see. There it is.
Oh, you're going positive trim.
Uh-huh. Try to
well,
bring
positive
it back down.
trim's going to nose up.
Oh, yeah.
I would go negative until you're at least at a reasonable altitude, and then zero it out.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Uh-oh. She's acting screwy. Don't scare me, plane. Don't scare me. What are you doing? It broke nav.
Just fly manual.
Yeah.
Remember, don't always trust autopilot. You're the one that always...
Truly.
harped on that aspect.
Clearly. Well, let me spot this thing, and yeah, you're right. Let me just spot this thing and bring it in. Man, did it do it again? I feel like a rookie. Like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Doesn't even seem like she's going the right direction again.
The airport's to your left, right?
That's what I believe.
You probably should have cruised out further for a wider turn angle.
Yeah. If I could just spot the thing, that'd help. Max speed.
Oh, you're coming. You're going so fast.
Good enough.
Trim up. That -20 might be your issue here. Where's that airstrip? Oh, it's right under the nose.
I see. It's over here still. It should be in this next valley.
Yeah, it's like right in there somewhere. Right in front of you. Okay, yeah. I think it's just on the one side of that green patch in there.
Yeah. I should know this area. I've flown into this like 3 times now.
I don't see the runway. Is it dirt?
No.
Oh, it's right there. Right?
To my right.
No, it's like right up against that ridge line. Like directly in front of the plane.
Oh, I think I'm passing over it right here. Yeah, I'm passing over it right now.
Is that dirt? Oh no, yeah, it's right there. Okay. Okay.
So you got these hills right in front of you for runway 27 here. So you got to kind of watch out. So I'm going to come around.
Now you're low.
Yeah.
Go around.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go around this hill and circle back.
And I will go quiet and let you focus on your turnaround and landing.
I'm so glad you came in today. I didn't want to just talk to myself, so I really appreciate that.
Well,
Hazardous.
You're welcome to join my stream.
Okay. So today is. Oh shit. I lost it. Did it again, Hazardous. I wasn't using my rudder, but I didn't have enough power on that turn. Yeah, this is not a landing spot.
Bring power up.
Yeah, I didn't bring it up fast enough.
Oh, damn.
Uh-huh.
Well, did we learn something?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Same with the CJ. She does not like going slow. Don't go slow.
No, I would say, keep it up around 190.
Yeah.
Until you're like right in line with the runway, and then you can bring it down to like that 140 range.
Speaking of possibly being fed wrong information, when I was talking to co-pilot about it, he was saying for the Cessna and the Longitude here that you can be going as low as 100, and I haven't seen it yet. Really, I haven't found that zen to go that slow yet.
I wouldn't believe that for a second.
Dang it.
If you were going 100 right there, you would have dropped like a rock.
Yeah. I don't think I was using any rudder. I tried forcing the nose down to pick up some speed there right at the end, but again, I was already doomed at that point. And any sort of turning just didn't help. The wing dipped and I flipped. So, and we were just talking about that the dangers of wingtip and dip on approach, turning to finals. So, yep, a lesson learned again. Lee says they made a booster rockets in Chumonton. That's right. That's what you're talking about. They made them near you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Out in our West Desert sort of area.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that it ended this way. It was such a darn good show. So I apologize to you, my viewers, anybody who was watching, for a sad performance right there at the end. Hope you enjoyed the visuals along the way. I hope you enjoyed the conversation along the way today. And we'll be having this conversation more as things keep rolling out. So thank you so much. Don't know about my schedule tomorrow. I better just, right at the moment, pretty much probably may not be able to make my show tomorrow. Tomorrow looks like it might be a little bit busy in the real world. So I'll just say, if I'm on, it's lucky. So thank you for tuning in. You all have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, Hazardous.
You're welcome.
Phineas keeps his collar tight, like he's strangling luck every single night. Logbook thick with 1,000 lies, stamped and signed under borrowed skies. They say he's golden, steady hands, built his name on shaky lands. Every landing clean and neat, but fate keeps tapping at his feet. Oh, he laughs it off like a cheap cliche, but death's been circling anyway. Phineas won't go down, not tonight. Even when the engines cough mid-flight, he's dancing on a razor line between we're fine and we're out of time. Yeah, he shrugs it off when he hits the ground, but something keeps trying to take him down. Hydraulics fail at 32. Cabin's calm, but he knows the truth. Co-pilot's pale, the checklist shakes, while Phineas smirks at the breaks it makes. Seen this once or twice before,
He's not quite sure anymore.
flips the switch with a gambler's grace, like he's cheating time in a losing race. So the tower calls, but he cuts them short. He's got his own kind of last resort. Phineas won't go down, not today. Even when the sky turns shades of gray, he's stitching seconds into air, like he's got to deal with nowhere. Yeah, he walks away when the tires scream, but you can't outrun every bad dream. Coffee cold and his hands still shake from another call he just escaped. They pat his back like he's bulletproof, but he's running thin on borrowed truth. Every nice save cuts him deep, 'cause luck like that don't come cheap. Mayday, no, stand by, I've got it. yet. Even with a sky that won't forget all the times he bent the rules of fate, running late at heaven's gate. Yeah, the wheels touch down, the crowd's unbound, but someday luck won't be around.
Yeah, like today.
So he straightens up, plays it cool, just another flight.
What else can you do?
Just another fool.
What else can you do? Today's show is not brought to you by spam. The meat thing, not like spam mail or anything. Like spam.